Hello, welcome to You Ask, I Answer video. There's a lot of contests that's going on all the time in the comic community, and I know I don't enter a lot of contests or any, but a lot of the questions are really good, so I figure I can cherry pick a bunch of questions from a bunch of contests and answer them in this video. First up is Vin Crew. I wish I print out his questionnaire because I just trying to do it from memory. Vin Crew, Mike, I'm sure many people that watch this video already subscribed to him, so he's not new. Probably between Vin Crew and Scott X107 are two of the most prolific bargain hunters out there, in addition to Lightning and the California Crew. But Vin Crew had a question about, I think one of his questions is about our thoughts on the bubble in the hobby. And the short answer is yes, there's a bubble. I have talked about it quite often in many videos, but the bubble that we have right now is extremely different from the bubble of the 90s. Okay, the bubbles of the 90s are more centered around the new books, new company. We're talking about Image, Malibu, you name it, all those new company, and a lot of people was hoarding X-Force One, and many of the #1 issue from Image. So in that's the bubble of the 90s. I think for most of us that have been in this hobby since the 90s, recognize that. But today we don't have that kind of bubble. Most new issue that hit the stand barely sell 100,000 copy. I have mentioned this many times before, that even the hot title like The Walking Dead can't even muster 70,000 copies per month. So, sure, through gimmicky 3D covers and variant, all that stuff, every month you may have a few, you're talking maybe 5 or 6 titles that sells maybe 100 to 200,000 copies. But in general, once you drop down below the top 5, you're looking at a sub 100,000 copies out there. So it's not a bubble in that sense, but no doubt there is a bubble in first appearances, because there is no slowing down of movies and TV shows that introduce many of these characters. And the thing is, because many of the characters in both TVs and movies that are getting introduction now are the D level characters. Many of these books were garbage 6 months, sometime a year ago. All of a sudden now the character is shown in Arrows or whatever TV show we see. Next thing you know, it went from being 50 cents to $50. So in that sense, there is a high degree of speculation out there in the first appearances first appearances books, especially on the B and C or lower level character. When you talk about A level, by A level I mean like Spider-Man. He doesn't need any more hype or movie success to keep at the high level. Amazing Fantasy 15 is highly sought after. There are thousands of copies out there. Sure, it's not hundreds of thousands of copies, but the demand is there for many years, and I don't see that as a bubble. Okay, there's a bubble in Squirrel Girl. Also, the other bubble that I rarely hear people talk about is a new title. Back in the 80s, when I collected, I don't think that there are even 100 different titles that come out on a monthly basis. I don't think. Slowly over the past few decades, especially now, from what I can tell, something like 500 different titles are on the stand on a monthly basis. 500 or something like that. It's just insane. No doubt, that's a bubble right there. When you have books that can sustain profitability to a point where the creators can put out 5,000 books and still make a living, that's a bubble. Okay, the fact that the price of $4.99 has nothing to do with the cost of producing a book. It's more as if if I can make 5,000 books, sell 5,000 books directly to the store at $4.99, give or take the cost of production, all that stuff, and I can still make a few $1,000s a month to pay the bills. Hey, that's all it matters. If there's 5,000 people out there that collect my books, that's all that matters. In that sense, I think that's a bubble. To me, if you're selling 5,000 books a month, I'm not sure if that's quality. I'm not sure who's buying it and what the heck is going on there, but to me, that makes no sense whatsoever. And to me, the sad part about that is the comic book market years ago, when books went from 12 cents to 15 cents to 20 cents, it was more driven by cost. Okay? Here's a big thing. The increase in price from 10 to 12 to 15 to 20 to 25, 30, 35, all the way to 50 cents or even 60 cents. All those increment was driven by higher costs because the rate of inflation was pretty high from the 60s through the mid 80s. But once the book crossed the $1.25 and start to go into back to paper and fancier paper, I think that has changed. And I think today the drive of higher price is not on cost. The higher price today is drive to replace the loss of, or lack of readership. Okay, so instead of trying to appeal and sell 100,000 copy at $2 a book, it's a lot easier to charge $3.99 and trying to sell 50,000 because you can't find more than 50,000 people to buy the book. So to me, that's a bubble in the price of new issues because it's purely driven to trying to balance out the loss or lack of readerships. Okay, it has little to do with the cost of production. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure some creators out there that, if they happen to watch this video, would find my opinion stupid. So one last question he asked was, if you can have somebody draw a picture of yourself, who would that be? And easy answer for me, Bill Sienkiewicz. I love Bill Sienkiewicz's style as far as the way he do faces, and I would love to see Bill do my face. Okay, another member that have a contest going on right now that has some decent questions is CloudedJourney, as well as JN Guy 1. Okay, and the two of them have somewhat a similar question where they ask what is my collecting goal for this year, 2015. What is it that high on my priority list to be to be completely honest, I don't really have a goal for 2015. I have slowed down my buying significantly last year and this year even more, because I'm content with my collection. I don't have a lot. I'm still missing a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't need to buy those things. But on top of my head, if I have to pick a comic book, it's nothing big. It would be Captain America 113, Steranko last book on that title. Steranko did so few books that it was easy for me to get all of his books. So I would love to someday have a set of all Steranko comic books that he either drew the covers or the interior or both. So I think Cap 113 is one of the few that is missing on top of my head. I'm sure I'm missing more than one, but it's up right now. Cap 113, and then that's about it. As far as original art, one piece that I would love to have, one artist is John Romita. I've been hunting for original art from John Romita for many, many years and have very little luck. They are often way too expensive. I need to set my eye lower, a lot lower. That or Gene Colan. That's two artists that I do not have any sketches or original arts from. So if I can get a piece from one of those two, it would be nice. Gene Colan is more affordable in general, but the affordable stuff tend to be the less well-known stuff that I'm, not crazy about. It doesn't have to be marquee Daredevil. For me, whenever I pick up a piece of original art, I must like the page. I must like the drawing on the page, so it doesn't have to be a killer Daredevil page from Gene Colan. It just had to be a page where I say, wow, that's Gene Colan, So hopefully I will be able to get one of those two as far as Gene Colan and John Romita. But that's about it. I have no other books or things that I feel that I got to have. To me, at this point of my collecting cycle, nothing is a must-have, gotta have. I like to have a lot of stuff. That's it. And let's see. They both Jan Guy and CloudedJourney asked for a bunch of 3 names of new YouTubers that can get more attention and viewers, and I wrote down a couple. One is Ray's Fan. He's being Ray's fan, I figure he must be local to me in Florida. I'll put a link below for all 3 names, but Ray's Fan is one. Tylox Themighty, he's fairly young. I think he's just getting to collecting last year. It's always fun to see younger people get into the hobby. The bottom line for me, and I had mentioned this many times, is I enjoy YouTube when I see younger collector getting excited about the books, the character, the story, because the hobby is about that next wave of collectors and readers, the next generation. It's not about me. I have zero impact on this hobby, none whatsoever. The hobby longevity has to do more with the appeal of it to the younger collectors and the younger readers of the next generation and the next and the next. Okay, people like me are at the tail end of this hobby. What we do, what we buy, what we collect has little impact on the long run of this hobby. And then the third person would be Brad Koski. He'd been around, but he started to make more videos, so I put a link below to him. So that's the 3 names that I want to shout out to. Let's see. CloudedJourney also asked, to recommend a name for him, and a name I would recommend is Will Work for Comics. Nothing shockingly original, but if it was me, I think I can see myself using that name. And Jan Guy had a whole bunch of other questions also. One of the questions he asked was, if I can have 2 character sketch, who would that be? For me, it would be Batman and Wolverine, perhaps 2 of my favorite characters of all time. It'd be nice to have a sketch of those 2 duking it out. Let's see. Another question from NJ Guy is the top 3 books I picked up last year. I picked up some really nice detective comics that I show up in one video, but I won't say the top 3 books. I think my most happy piece I picked up is the original art by Bernie Wrightson. I showed that in a video, and so for me, that is the most beloved, prized piece of thing that I got for this hobby, for my collection in 2014. And then another book that I bought that I consider very important last year was this book. One reason that I sold all my X-Men slab at the end of last year, I made a video about that also, is that for the longest time I had a lot of raw books, raw X-Men from 95 to 143. I had many, if not most of those issues, and the only thing that was missing was X-Men 94. Okay, and I had been looking for a nice raw high-grade copy for many years, about as long as I have owned the slab copy. And once I was able to find this copy, which is about, I would say probably a 9.2, once I had this, I decided that now that I have the full set of X-Men raw in high grades, there's no need to have the slabs anymore. So that's the catalyst for me to get rid of my X-Men slabs. So no doubt this book, this purchase have a lot to do with why I decided to liquidate my entire X-Men slabs. So there you go, and that's it. And I think that's all the question. I cherry pick questions from other YouTubers that have contests and questions. So last but not least, there's another YouTuber that has some interesting question. Manta Comics 123. He asked if I want to pick Werewolf by Night 32 or Batman Adventure 12, and I would probably say Werewolf by Night 32. I would choose that book over the first appearance of Harlequin. Harlequin never do much for me. I mean, I find her interesting. I like Moon Knight a lot more. I bought Moon Knight comic books when it was on the stand back in the 80s. But as far as Harlequin, I have not owned anything. Okay, I saw Harlequin for the first time in the cartoon. Thought she was interesting, cute. That is as far as my interest in Harlequin. And all the craze and mania that's been going on with Harlequin in the past few years has went over my head. I said this before in other video, I will never own any of her books. Not because I don't want to, It'd be interesting to read them, but at the crazy escalating prices that is going on with all her books, it makes no sense to me, and I would never fork out my hard-earned money to buy any of those books. And then one of his questions was favorite non-comic TV shows. There's a lot of good TV shows going on. A lot of good TV shows. I think out of all the years that I watch TV, I can say that there are more great serious TV series going on right now than ever. You know, comedy, not so much. I think we are at the point where, you know, it's not like there's another show like Taxi or Friends or Cheers or anything. There's no must-see 30-minute sitcom TV comedy. Nothing. There's no Big Bang Theory. Oh, that bores me to death now. I enjoyed the Big Bang Theory the first couple seasons, but the last 2 or 3, not worth my time. But as far as serious TV, you have shows like Suits. That is really good, and Netflix have a bunch of really good shows that I enjoy. The name of the show escaped me, but the one with Kevin Spacey playing the president, I really like that. And then on FX, there's a show called The Americans, which have Kerry Russell. It's about, you know, Russian spies living in America in the 80s. It is really fantastic. So to me, right now, that's awesome TV as far as serious TV shows. And that's it, my friend. That's this long episode of You Ask, I Answer. And if you haven't subbed to any of the channels that I mentioned in this video, hopefully you find them interesting after you watch this video and subs to those YouTubers. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.